now that it's happened and it's real, because I haven't really given myself the opportunity to think about anything. I just wait and see what happens and then kind of process. And I'm finding myself going, all right, well, who's going to run this? And they're going to want to put their fingerprint on it, and they're
Yeah.
going to come in and say, well, you haven't won in XYZ, and here's the reasons I think. And this seems to be the consensus on why this group hasn't won. So boom, I'm going to do this. And I hope it's a guy that has won Stanley Cups in the past and
Yep.
recently, and knows what the DNA and the blueprint looks like. And he comes in and he's like, here's where I see the problem. I'm going to fix it, and see what he does, and then see what the summer brings. I think it brings excitement, because something has happened and something is going to happen. Because honestly, I think, and you've done this more than me, but to go into another training
Hmm.
camp without much changed, you're going, how the fuck are we supposed to believe in this group when it's just proved itself not to be, a winner in the playoffs? And again, it's always the playoffs. It's not the regular season. It's not, and that's why I guess I'm realizing that's why you've been preaching that to me. It's just the regular season. Wait till playoffs. That's the
Yeah.
only thing that matters. And it's true with this group more than probably any other group that you can point to in recent memory. So it'll be interesting to see someone new. Definitely is coming in and is probably going to want to say, I need to put my. He's not just going to step in and say, well, go ahead. He's going to put
Yeah.
his mark and his stamp on it. So I can't wait to see who that is and what that looks like.
So a couple of tidbits first and foremost from what Shanahan spoke, and it was a pretty lengthy presser, but he said the new GM would make a decision on the coach, and he prefers somebody with experience. So I think
Mm-hmm.
first time GM is unlikely. I think the other thing I would add that I think is very interesting, and I try hard not to compare it to a different sport, but sometimes you have to make some decisions, man. It is a gambling sport to a degree, and I can't help but think back to the Toronto Raptors. Dwayne Casey, dude, won Coach of the Year, and Masai Ujiri, the goats of all goats in the NBA, is like, dude, you're fucking done. See you later. Nick Nurse gets hired internally, and they end up winning the NBA championship. Granted, again, you get Kawhi Leonard, and that's a bit of a different story, but you have to be able to make tough decisions. And again, who knows about the timeline? Who knows what's going on behind the scenes? There's quite clear there's been tension for a while. But I think when you're in a position like Brendan Shanahan is, you have to make tough decisions. Sometimes they pay off, sometimes they don't. And if that means getting rid or parting ways, whatever they want to structure the wording of, a relationship with Kyle Dubas that he's been with the organization 9 years, 5 years as the GM, you got to make that decision and you got to move onwards. And he's already said that he's got some candidates in mind, but that's the big thing I took away is that he wants somebody with experience.
I would think so, and that's good. That's a good thing to hear, because I think he realizes that no matter who you are, and I think Kyle Dubas is kind of a pretty charismatic, special type of person to be able to accomplish what he's accomplished in that world in such a short time. There's got to be something about him that gets the job done, makes people tick, whatever it is, and good for him. But whoever you are, there's going to be lessons learned and growing pains, no matter what the situation is, when you get into that world and you're green and you don't have the experience. And I'm sure the Hall of Fame of all Hall of Famers will tell you that that is the case. So I love to hear Brendan Shanahan say that I want experience right now, because I want someone to step in and say, I know exactly what your fucking problem is, because this reminds me of my team in 2006 where this blah, blah, blah. And we built it this way because we didn't. And he'll have some experience or some analogy on it. And if he wants this job and he's fit for the job, he'll come in and he'll say exactly what it is that's wrong that he's going to address. And I think we can all, figure out for ourselves what that probably is. We've been talking about it since, forever, but especially since they got beat out. And, a guy's going to come in and make changes with a fresh set of eyes, without any ego involved on, well, I have an affinity for this guy, and I remember when I signed that contract and I still think he's got something left in the tank, or whatever happens in that situation. So you got to cut that cold. And again, I'm excited to have a guy come in, fresh eyes, and I want that experience. I want a guy with at least one cup in, this century, who's like, I understand this league, I understand this hockey, I understand these types of players from this era, and this is what we need. And then he's got to go to work trying to get that done.